Hey everybody, Matt with Freestand here. Got a special guest, our second gaming coach on the show today, Cody Lefevre, correct?
Cody Lefevre.
Lefevre. Again, I butchered another name, even though I asked twice before. How many times did I ask before?
Just
3.
once, but you said it correctly 3 times, I think.
Anyway, so we got Coach Dody is his coaching name. So it's Cody Lefevre, Coach Dody.
Yes.
And he is a Fortnite coach and also a Valorant coach, which I'm not familiar with. So I'm sure you'll explain a little bit about that. But anyway, usually the way I start off is I just ask, kind of how you got started, what you do, and kind of how you got started and all that.
Sure. So I kind of identify as an esports coach, specializing in Fortnite and Valorant. How I got started, that's a little bit of a longer story. So I was a lacrosse athlete, longtime gamer. I've been playing games since I was like 6 or 7, and I've been competing in sports since forever, played college lacrosse. And then from there, I got into substitute teaching and coaching high school lacrosse at my former high school in Hillsborough, New Jersey. And I just immediately loved it. I hadn't had a lot of experience like working with kids at camps or any things like that, but I found that I enjoyed it. It was fun, and I felt I was pretty good at it to start, although there were obviously many struggles and tough parts of it. But from there, I got into marketing, doing Facebook and Google ads on Fiverr.com. I'm sure many of you have heard of Fiverr.com, one of the most popular freelance websites. And then I had been playing Fortnite since it came out. And about 2-3 months in, I saw a YouTube video, like I bought a Fiverr coach for Fortnite. And I was like, oh, I could coach video games on Fiverr where I'm already selling anyway. So decided to try that out, just $5 for an hour. Immediately loved it. It was fun. I was going to play the game anyway. So I like to teaching people up. I mean, as a gamer, you always kind of teach your friends or the friend that's new to the game how to play anyway.
Yeah.
So I kind of had that experience. And then I just kept going with it from there, trying to get more clients, making some social media stuff. I do TikTok for both Fortnite and Valorant now.
That's very cool. So you were working on Fiverr as like a digital marketer or an
Mhm.
ad specialist, kind of like you're
Something
doing.
like that. I definitely wasn't a specialist.
You're working as a freelancer on Fiverr, and then you just saw that people were selling their coaching services on Fiverr for video games, and you were like, okay, let me do this. That's crazy. So talk to me a little bit about. So you started playing Fortnite right when it came out, right? And how long
Mhm.
ago was that? Like
It's
3
like
years
almost, I think it
ago?
might be 4 years now.
4 years? Yeah, I remember that was just like an insane boom of like everybody. As when I was in college,
Mhm.
everybody was playing it like 24/7. Like, I've never seen more people more obsessed with one game in my entire life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And people are like, it's crazy. I mean, like the amount of like money people spend on it too. Just buying like skins and all that stuff. Um, it's pretty incredible. So talk to me about like, so you saw this ad and then you're like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to become a video game coach. What did that look like? Did you like change your profile on Fiverr? And then like, how did you start marketing yourself and all that stuff?
So with the kind of a gig economy, you got to create your gig, your description, kind of your frequently asked questions. I did all that, pretty simple and basic to start. I did change my bio on my Fiverr profile to reflect more of a gaming experience and background. And the cool thing about Fiverr is you don't really have to do marketing and advertising. People come to the website looking for things, looking for freelance coaches, looking for freelance services. So I didn't really have to do a lot of marketing to start. The business just kept coming to me. And from there, I was actually doing my master's in elementary education during that time period. So I was taking classes and then eventually student teaching in a 4th and 5th grade class. Um, so I wasn't making a lot of money doing that. Student teaching, you're paying to teach people. So I just kept doing that on the side. People kept coming to me, working with mostly, I mean, for Fortnite, it's mostly like kids ages 11 to 14, and then Valorant kind of skews a little bit older. But one of the cool things for Fortnite was I got to work with like dad and son combos, or like one dad and 2 of his sons all in one session. So I really loved like the family aspect to it. That part was super, super fun, some of those sessions.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And are you doing, is it like over Zoom? and like how does obviously Fortnite is a console game, so how do you teach? Like how's that format kind of set up?
Mhm. Well, Fortnite's one of the earliest games to have cross-platform, so people on a Switch consoles can play with PC, which is really great. Not a lot of games
Ah,
have that nowadays, although there's a couple ones. So for Fortnite, I actually do play with people 99% of the time I work with them, which makes it a little more intense. And, I do 1v1s against them. We're just talking in game over our headsets the whole time. And yeah, occasionally I'll do like VOD review, which you watch back their gameplay, like a sports scout would watch back a player's game and assess their game. So I like that, but it's not as fun or rewarding as being able to play with them and kind of do stuff on the fly. And then for Valorant, we use Discord, which is like the really popular app for gamers for talking, video chat, all that. So for that one, I kind of just sit back. I got my dual screen up. I got my Word document on the right. I got their gameplay live as I'm watching them, and I kind of try and coach them to win as well during Valorant, a little more than I would for Fortnite. But I'm also looking to see their mistakes, their trends, their weaknesses, stuff like that, and just assess and give them feedback.
so in Valorant, you're watching them play and you're kind of sitting back and just kind of analyzing their play, and then in Fortnite you're actually playing against them. Is that right?
Yeah, so sometimes for Fortnite, towards the end of the session, we'll play a game together to kind of see how well their team plays. So we're doing duo games, see how well they work with a teammate, their call outs, stuff like that. But for Valorant, it is very chill. I get to just sit back. I have my coffee, I got my water, I'm watching. I love the difference in a way because it's so massively different.
Yeah. Um, and all of these people are coming to you through Fiverr mostly, or is there anything like do you promote on Instagram, anything like that?
Mhm. So, I mean, I've probably been on 4 or 5 different coaching websites since Fiverr.
Mm,
I've been on and off, just trying to take different opportunities. I mean, there's a couple of big players in the space that are really killing it in terms of the coaching scene, notably Pro Guides. They have some big investors, I believe, and they spend a lot of money and they have really high quality website. I'm not involved with them, but they're doing some great stuff. But yeah, I've been on several different websites. I do have my own website now, CoachDody.com, where you can schedule a session there.
awesome.
I'm also on this other site, new site, Medify.gg, where I sell Fortnite and Valorant coaching.
That's where I
Uh,
found you, Medify.
oh, really? Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw like because I that's where I found the last guy. I reached out to him on Discord on their Discord, and
Mhm.
then I think I saw your name because I just searched Coach, and then I went to Instagram. So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm just going to say, so there's so many different ways to get it. I mean, the big one for gaming is Twitter. For whatever reason, the gaming community loves Twitter. So a lot of people get orders and find people on there. That one hasn't been as big for me. TikTok has definitely been bigger for me this past year. I'm not a big social media guy, but I really tried to work on it. Was able to get up to like 13.4 thousand on my Fortnite one. I'm about to hit 2K on my Valorant one. So just really trying to make useful tip videos and stuff like that, but also advertise my business. And it's actually started to see some people find me on there, which is cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. And those websites that you're that like the marketplaces, right? Those are like coaching marketplaces where you set up a profile similar to Fiverr, and then people contact you. And do they said you mentioned Pro Guides, which you're not on, but you're on Medify, which
Mhm.
is kind of a newer one, I think. Um, do they process the transaction for you, or how does that work? Do they take a
Yeah, so
percentage?
that's one of the good parts about it is that they do all the processing fees. Like I mentioned, that they're pretty much doing the marketing and bringing in the people, but they do all the processing, the credit card stuff. Depending on the website, they have different scheduling features and all that. And also in terms of like a cut, like Fiverr takes 20%, Medify takes nothing off your current fee. They get it on like a additional fee of some sort. I'm not exactly sure how Medify works, but every site has their different benefits there. Big thing with Pro Guides and Medify is they're gaming specific. So Fiverr, you could get a service for just about anything you could dream of, but these gaming specific websites are all fighting to be the top couple in the space, and they think it's going to keep growing because esports is growing. So they're
Sure.
all battling to be number one there.
Yeah. No, I mean it definitely is. Um, that's interesting. So Medify does not take a percentage. They make it some other way on the back end.
Yeah, I think it's like a $2 or $3 addition fee, but your price that you list, you get the full 100% of that.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, because that's just like one of the biggest things when I talk to freelancers or anybody who's working independently on these websites is like, that transaction fee. Although it's probably earned by I would say it's probably earned by the marketplace because they're actually like earning you the customer and driving you the customer. A lot of people will try and go off platform and try and go different directions. If you do find somebody and then they get directed to coachdody.com, can they just sign up directly on your website and pay you in full there?
Hmm. So there's that whole like exclusivity clause, like some websites that I did work with for a period where you're only going to list on our website. That's it. You can't take anybody personally. The cool thing about Medify is they don't have that. Fiverr doesn't have that. So now I have myself listed on both. And then yes, I do list it on Coach Dody, and they could just schedule it there. It's like $5 cheaper because there's no fee being taken. But yeah, every website's different. They all have their unique benefits and downsides.
Gotcha. And what do you charge generally? Well, actually, first question is, you said you mostly do one-on-ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so do you do some group lessons, or is it pretty much the majority or one-on-ones?
So Valorant is a 5v5 tactical shooter. Fortnite has solos, duos, squads, trios is the biggest game mode for tournaments recently. But for Valorant, I just think it's a lot easier to coach on a team basis, and I enjoy it. Like Fortnite, team, trio, tactics, and all that just aren't as interesting or deep to me compared to Valorant, where it's very intense, very complex strategically. So yeah, it just fits a lot better for that. I coached a pro team or a tier 2 team for like 3 weeks in Valorant. I kind of enjoyed that, but there were some struggles there. But in general, the team coaching for Valorant is like a blast. Like I've done some where like English was their second language and we're still having a great time enjoying. I've worked with teams from Germany, teams from Mexico, and a couple other countries. But yeah, the team part for Valorant is super, super fun. Fortnite, not so much. I feel like there's a second part to your question. Did I hit all that?
No, I think you hit on everything. I was just pretty much asking like in terms of like the amount of clients that you coach at once, like 1v1s versus teams.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so Valorant's more team based. Fortnite's better for the one-on-one. Are most of these people that are coming to you, like you said that for Valorant, you've coached like semi-professional teams, um, and then for Fortnite, is it more kind of recreational? Are these kids trying? You said it's mostly kids who are like 10 to 14 or 12 to 14. I forget what you said. Are most of these kids trying to become professional gamers, or are they just trying to get better so they can beat their friends?
Mm-hmm.
What's kind of the deal?
Definitely for that last point you hit for Fortnite, I felt that several times. Like they just wanted to keep up with their friends. I even had a couple kids say like my friends kind of bully me a little bit about how bad I am at the game, help me get better. Like they're very serious. Or
Yeah.
parents who felt like their kids were being bullied because they weren't as good and they wanted to help them be a little bit better. So those are always super rewarding to see that. But in
Wow.
terms of sorry, could you reiterate your question? Oh yeah, the average versus the competitive gamer. So I kind of brand myself as more the coach for the average player because at the highest levels, the amount of growth they're going to get is so like minimal. It's almost tough to see. And
Yeah.
personally, I just don't enjoy that as much as you can have a player, especially in Fortnite. Valorant is a little bit more complex, but Fortnite, you can go from like a bottom 20% player to like that 30, 40, 50 percentile, like very quickly with a good coach. So I love the average gamer for that. I think it's just so much more fun. And there's a couple coaches in the Fortnite scene specifically, like competitive coaches that specialize in that. But in my opinion, they're not helping the player grow that much, and I just don't see how that would be as rewarding. You're working with someone who's probably genetically gifted, who has already spent 6+ hours a day in many cases, and is really close to their potential, or very, very close to potential in most cases. So yeah, I really enjoy more the average gamer. For Valorant, there's kind of a mix. There's some people who are trying to break into that pro level, or see if they're even capable of breaking into that pro level. But yeah, more that average or above average person who just doesn't know what to do to take themselves to that next level.
Gotcha. And when you coach somebody, what are you coaching them on? And I guess this obviously varies between each game.
Mm-hmm.
But like, are there any with each game? Are there specific things that you're looking for that you're giving people advice on that you have them practice? Like, yeah,
Definitely. So, I mean, for Fortnite, I've probably coached over 300. I mean, I know I've coached over 300 people at this point. So I have a list of different little points that I could be looking for. You don't do this in these situations, or you're always doing this in this situation. Kind of same thing for Valorant. I probably have 60 plus coaching points that I'm looking for. And then I think the strengths and weaknesses is a really big one. Some people practice the same thing over and over again. They keep using the same moves and it becomes their strength, but they're missing one or two things. They keep making the same mistake all the time. Like I have a friend who plays Valorant and he makes the same mistake over and over again. But it's tough to see that on your own. You're just seeing the loss. You get frustrated in the emotion. It's tough to see the logic of your decision making, your step-by-step process. So yeah, I have a vast list for each game of things I'm looking for. And then the other part I really love about it is the question and answer. So whether it's during the session or at the end, I like to ask, is there something I didn't cover that you want to know about? Or they just ask questions at random throughout. And that leads to like a very complex discussion of the points rather than just the black and white stuff. I really love getting into the gray areas. And I think that's very useful for kind of their growth after the session, not just working with me, so that they can take it on their own and be able to be self-directed to improve.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's very cool. I mean, and I'm sure you probably have a knack for this to begin with, since you coached lacrosse and then also you were doing substitute teaching as well. So it's interesting. It's interesting to think about video games, in terms of like real sports, even though they are, you know what I mean? And we're just so early in this. To a lot of people, this is going to sound like, like coach for Fortnite or for video
I
games.
get the looks. I get the all the time, or the question, are you serious? Really?
Yeah, like that's a thing. But yeah, no, it clearly is. I mean, there's tons of demand. Did you feel like there was like a big boost in demand when the pandemic hit and everybody was locked inside?
Well, I know for our camps, we had planned to do an in-person camp at a local esports arena and talk about esports growth. There's like hundreds of esports arenas being opened up in the U.S. in the next 5-10 years. So that's massive growth there. But yeah, I mean, I definitely noticed people are at home. The video games blew up even more because of the pandemic. I think about my one brother. He barely even played games before the pandemic, and he's been grinding Warzone with his friends over the past year and a half. So yeah, I think there was a couple games that really blew up, and then just overall gaming blew up during the pandemic. So gaming related services kind of blew up. And just to touch on one point real quick that you mentioned before, like the crossover between sports. I know for me, I was obsessed with being better at sports throughout my life, for both basketball as a kid and lacrosse later in life. So, I mean, there's just such a direct crossover between like skill development in sports, skill development in esports. So I really love that part. And I think my obsession with improving myself, both in games and esports, was able to directly translate to coaching others in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it's good to hear it from somebody like you who played real sports growing up. You know what I mean? Like you played lacrosse in college. Because I think coming from somebody, not that this is by any means false, but coming from somebody who's only played esports and like trying to connect that bridge for somebody that played sports, like how much can you really teach someone? You know what I mean? But it sounds like you really can. So that's cool. It's really cool to hear. Awesome, man. How do people get in touch with you? How do all that? CoachDody.com? Is
Yep.
that the main
Yep.
thing?
Yep. And then
Okay.
I'm Coach Dody on TikTok, Valorant Coach Dody on TikTok. But yeah, Coach Dody kind of has all my links there.
Okay, very cool. I'll make sure to include all that in this. In terms of the last question I usually ask, if somebody is looking to become a video game coach, like they're interested, some kid who's listening is like, oh, I want to coach Fortnite. How good do you have to be in order to do it? I guess is my first question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's kind of a big debate there. I mean, you think about your middle school PE teacher. Was he the most athletic person you've ever seen in your life? You probably had one of those PE teachers that was not the most athletic. Can he not be a good PE teacher then? I would disagree. I think he could be. He very well could be.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be a great athlete to be a great teacher. So I'm kind of in that camp. There are some people in the esports competitive scene that think, oh, you better be a top 0.1% player to be a coach. I know for me in Fortnite, I'm like top 3%. Valorant, I'm like top 6, and that's good enough for me.
Yeah, that's plenty.
Yeah, the difference between being a good player and be able to instruct somebody to assess their skills effectively, it's just like a different set of skills. Now, of course, if you're good at the game, you're going to have kind of the game specific knowledge that's important, but I don't think you need to be a 0.1% player to be a great coach or even a good coach. And I think that applies to many sports as well. So that's one thing I'd throw out there. But I'm a big believer that, like, I used to be kind of a hater of school as a kid. I was kind of a B student, always doing the minimum amount I needed to do to pass and do okay. But for coaching, I kind of do believe in getting an education in it. I know my master's degree in education, it really helped me a lot with teaching. And like I said, I used to kind of dislike teachers and dislike learning in school. So I think getting some sort of formal background, there's some coaching certifications you can get. I got this double goal coach from the Positive Coaching Alliance, which is a really good organization. They've been around for a while.
It's an
And
esports
so
organization.
no, it's a sports organization. I actually got it through my lacrosse program, but I just, in terms of like coaching and learning how to coach, I thought it was a really good certification, keeping it positive, some strategies and stuff there. But there are some esports specific certifications. I don't have any of those,
Yeah,
but if you're interested in becoming a coach, I think it's important to kind of learn a little bit about education and coaching from a formal standpoint. A lot
yeah,
of these esports coaches and managers kind of just like fell into it and started doing it. And I'm sure some of them are doing great work and doing great stuff. But I am kind of a believer in formal education way more than I used to be.
yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, I mean the whole idea behind skill, just raw talent, and being a good coach. You know what I mean? It's like I think probably if you're coaching the top 0.0001% of Fortnite players, you probably need to have been there or are at that level. Because like I think you probably need to be able to like lead them through that. Maybe not, but in terms of
Could
like
definitely help though. I mean,
it
it's not
yeah,
necessarily going to hurt.
definitely, yeah, definitely would help. But yeah, in terms of the rest of it, I mean, I think you're 100% right. Like, it's more about, well, at least it sounds this way. It's just more about kind of like taking the macro perspective, just kind of sitting back, watching like these different things that you can't see in yourself, um, and yeah, just offering tips and advice in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, it's very interesting. Um, Very cool. All right, man. Well, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. And like I said, I'll drop all the links into everything. And yeah, is there anything else you want to get out there to the people about esports, gaming, Fortnite?
Oh, that's a tough one. Wish you would have gave me that one in advance. What can I give to the people to talk about esports? I don't know. Just kind of throw out there, I guess, like the community aspect of it. Like a lot of people hate on gamers, think they're loners and they're chilling in their basement or their dorm room, whatever. But there is a lot of friendship and community out there in the gaming space, even in this like. There's some Valorant, Fortnite can be toxic and negative, people like to say, and some of the streamers who stream it are or act like they are. But like I said, there is community out there. There's friendship out there on the interwebs to be had. So don't hate on gamers thinking they're all loners and chilling in their basement.
Very cool. I think that's great advice. All right, Cody. Thank you very much.
Thank
And
you.
we'll talk soon. Thanks, man.
Yep. See ya.
Peace.